If you've been learning a language for months or years and you still don't feel fluent, this video is for you, because I know some of you guys have even given up. I know I've had phases like that as well, because I used to think I was bad at language as well. I was failing Spanish in school, but it turns out I was just following like what the trend was, what everybody says you should do, things like Duolingo, just learning it at school, etc., doing textbooks. And honestly, you just can't get further from the truth. I don't know why the mainstream methods of language learning are like literally the worst things you can do. So in this video, obviously, we're going to go through some of that and some better ways on how to learn languages, some things that you shouldn't do, and my experience in learning languages as somebody who's learned 5 up until now, going through lots of different methods, the traditional ones and the not traditional ones, ones that do work and ones that don't work.
評判という漢字は3番が正しいですね。評判というのはいいとか悪い。
By the way, if you guys are feeling stuck right now and you don't know what to do, maybe you're in this position, I'm putting together a free guide. So if you're interested, click the link down below, fill out a really short form and I'll send it straight over to you. And it's going to help you out with all of this stuff we're going to go through in the video. So firstly, one thing that I hear way too often with people that I work with in my community is people coming and saying, yeah, I've been learning Spanish for 3 months. I've been learning French for 4 months. And, you know, I'm not really getting to where I want to. I want to ask them to elaborate a little bit more, like, what have you been doing the past 3-4 months? They say, yeah, well, maybe I listen to music like for 30 minutes. Then maybe like I'll watch like Peppa Pig in French with the English subtitles. And guys, this just isn't enough. Like, it's such a big problem. And then there'll be people who are saying, oh yeah, I study on and off. So like maybe like 2-3 times a week. Nah, that's not it. There's a lot of other things that can go wrong. So obviously we're going to clear up a lot of those. But for me, in my journey, I also made a lot of these mistakes. So the first language that I actually started learning was Japanese. And at the same time I was taking Spanish at school, but I wasn't taken seriously. We'll get onto that in a second. But for Japanese, first thing I did, can you guess? I went on Duolingo, went on the App Store, downloaded Duolingo, and I had like a 90-day streak. I bought Duolingo Plus and everything. And I was doing this day in, day out, seeing like a little bit of progress. I can say mizu kudasai, like really basic stuff. I was saying the same thing as the people I see now, saying, I'm not getting the progress I want to. This is too slow. I don't feel like I'm actually able to speak Japanese or even really understand it, you know? I even bought some textbooks. I bought the Genki textbooks. I got them downstairs. I'm thinking about selling them as well because they're pretty expensive. So if any of you guys want to buy my Genki textbooks for Japanese, then they're up for sale. Actually, don't do that. That's the whole point of this video. But yeah, like I was doing all the traditional methods, like the stuff that I'd heard like up until like the age of like 13 and stuff, saying you have to do Duolingo, you need textbooks, etc. And it just didn't work for me. And I'm sure many of you guys have experienced something similar. And then for Spanish, or like I said, I was taking it in school. That's literally all I did. And I got to like an okay level of Spanish. But like, if you put me in Spain, like I'm not going to be able to have conversations and stuff. Like I would just say, puedo tener una whatever, like una cerveza or whatever. But like, that's it. Can I have a beer? Like, I can go to shops and stuff. But it's not enough, you know, depending on what you want to do. Obviously, that's not my goals. But yeah, school just doesn't develop real fluency. So to summarize this, what I was actually doing is I was studying the language instead of truly experiencing it, absorbing it, and letting my brain pick up the language. And this just completely destroys all chances of you developing actual fluency. You're going to be rigid. You're going to sound like a robot. You're not even going to understand natives, which is so crucial to actually even have a conversation. Another thing is just relying on school. You just cannot rely on school. You need to be getting some kind of input outside of school as well. I mean, it can help as a supplement really, but we'll get onto methods you can use to really start kind of pushing away from school and developing your own fluency. I was also focusing on rules and grammar instead of patterns, and actually recognizing and seeing things in context and allowing myself to develop an understanding for myself. So doing things like those textbooks, things that they'll teach you in school, Duolingo, it's just not allowing you to develop a true understanding of how the language is used. And in short, I just wasn't getting enough meaningful exposure. Like most people, I've really liked anime and Japanese music, which is why I kind of started to learn the language. But these kind of things were at way too high of a level for me to even understand, and I wasn't really listening to them. I wasn't putting any intent behind it. And because of all this, I was super frustrated. I wasn't making progress. I was really behind. And at that rate, I just wasn't going to reach my goal. But here I am now, 日本語でアニメを見てたりして。So let's get into the things that you can do to counteract the ones that we've just gone through. So the first thing was really just a change of mindset. You have to realize that these methods that are super traditional just aren't going to work for you, and you have to let go. You have to be open-minded and try things that you've been told maybe aren't as effective or you just never heard of before. The first mindset change is stopping asking yourself, what kind of grammar can I study? What textbooks do I need? And asking yourself, what content can I immerse myself in? Now, immersion is like the base of learning any language. If you ask somebody how they learn a language and they went to a country or something, that's essentially immersion. Immersion is constantly being surrounded by the language, and this is truly the only way that you're going to learn a language. This is how babies learn the language. This is how we all learn our native languages. This is how people go to the country, learns a language. This is how I've learned languages, simulating it at home. It seems slow at first. It can seem daunting jumping into content in that language. but the progress and the efficiency of the method is so real. And a great way that you can actually do this is by using something like Link. It's one of the only tools that actually helps you acquire a language instead of studying it like a school subject. With Link, you're not stuck doing grammar drills or memorizing flashcards. You learn through real content, the same kind of things that native speakers are hearing every day. Over time, you start picking up the grammar, sentence structure, and so many other things without even noticing it. It's almost like the same way you've learned your first language. And this is what makes Link powerful. You're learning from content you actually like. What makes Link stand out is that you can import your own content that you enjoy onto the platform and create your own personalized lessons. For example, you can import podcasts like This American Life and make your own flashcards, learn new vocab, learn new phrases, track your progress stats, everything. On top of that, if there's a podcast that you really like that doesn't have a transcript, Link can literally generate that for you. Link also has a mobile app which is super useful to use on the go. Everything happens in one place. You can use Link on both mobile and desktop, so you can read on your phone, listen whilst you're going somewhere, literally whatever you want. It's also co-founded by Steve Kaufman, a super respected polyglot who's learned like 20 languages or something crazy using things like the immersion method. If you want to start acquiring a language instead of studying it, I'll leave a link in the description below so you can start learning for free and learn with content that you actually enjoy. And I implemented this kind of method whilst I was learning Japanese and literally every language I've learned up until now. So recently, I've actually picked up a little bit of Portuguese for exams coming really soon. And I'll be honest, my Spanish is not at the level I want it to be, but I'm feeling pretty confident actually because I implemented like everything that I learned whilst I started learning Japanese, first language I learned, and I got fluent in French in literally 5 months and I got to A* in French. So hopefully I'm going to be able to do that with Spanish as well now. But the first thing that I did in order to actually develop fluency in these languages from the point on where I realized like, hey, these Duolingo things aren't working for me, is I did a little bit of research and I found out the immersion method. But the number one thing that comes even before that is you just need to be studying every single day. Like if you're not studying every day, you're not truly committed to it. And I don't even know if you're truly going to make a good amount of progress. So please just study every single day, even if it's just a little bit. Keep the streak going, not like Duolingo, but just in a way where it should almost become a daily part of your life. It should just become a habit. And I promise you this will compound over time. A day off every now and then is fine. Like it's not the end of the world. Even I do it sometimes, but even if it's just like 10 minutes of a podcast, whatever it is, make sure you're listening to the language every single day. But obviously this isn't just it. Super underrated tip that a lot of people don't capitalize on is also learning things like filler words and the way people say the things that really connect our language day to day. So I remember when I started learning French, I literally had a post-it. I might be able to find it here. I've got it right here. I think it's flipped around for you guys, but I might put a picture on the screen. But anyways, what I've written on there is literally just a bunch of filler words. So I've got things like bref, en gros, en tout cas, mon ref, en mode, and just the things that I wanted to replicate from native speakers. So what I'd do is I'd hop in like a Discord call in a French server, I'd listen to what they're saying, and I'd write down like all the things that sound like they're kind of linking things together, the things that they would say all the time. So I've got things like basically, so you know, anyways, like what, like yo, like whoa, bro, you see, I guess, but you know, things like that, like things that it's so useful, so essential when it comes to actually speaking naturally and fluently. Like you need this to be fluent. You don't want to sound like ChatGPT or a robot where you're just constantly speaking. You need those interjections, those things, you know, but I mean like, and then actually, you know, basically you need that. That's how native speakers talk. That's how you speak fluently. So you give your brain time to talk. It's so useful. And the thing is, you pick up a lot of those things with immersion, as we mentioned before, but make sure you put some effort into it. Just with this step alone, I guarantee you, within like a day, you can improve your fluency. Within a week of you forcing yourself to say those over and over again, I guarantee you'll sound so much more like a native, and it'll be even easier to talk as well, just in general. And then the last thing is you have to make sure that you're talking to yourself all of the time. Now, a really good thing you can do is talking to AI. I spoke to AI a lot when I was learning French. And you don't have to do it with AI, you can actually do it yourself. That's what I've done up until now mainly. That's my preferred way to do it. Make up scenarios, make up situations. Sometimes like I'll be scrolling through my comments on TikTok and I'll see somebody post something that's a little bit controversial, something I don't agree with. I'll have a full-on debate with them for like 30 minutes just speaking out loud. Like I generally sound crazy, but you need to be speaking to yourself all of the time, literally all the time. Any spare time you get, if you're watching a show and something crazy happens, like start saying wesh mais c'est quoi ça, like literally just like oh what's happening, things like that. Literally say all of it in French. Like if I'm playing games, I'll start raging in French. If I'm playing Rocket League, I'll start talking Japanese or Spanish, just trying to practice, you know.
3番が正しいですね。評判というのはいいとか悪い
You really need to make sure that it's part of your everyday routine, things like that. And what this does is using it actively, using the language actively for yourself is going to allow your brain to really start to take control of it for itself, and it's going to also reinforce it in your memory more. There's so many benefits to doing this, so definitely get started today. Start talking to yourself. So anyways, I mean, for a very long time when I started learning Japanese, I was facing so many different problems. Even after I'd kind of slowly discovered bits and pieces of what I needed to do, I was still going pretty slowly. Only kind of recently, like the past year or two, I've been able to learn languages a lot quicker. So regardless if it's your first language you're learning, it's probably going to take you quite a while to get used to it. Obviously, my goal with these videos is to help you guys to kind of skip that step and start learning quicker. But anyways, let me know down in the comments what language you're learning below and what's your biggest struggle. I said I'm putting a free guide together that shows you exactly how to fix these issues and how to learn a language properly. So if you want it, there's a link below and I'll send it to you. Just fill out the quick form, it's 100% for free and you've got it. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know down in the comments if you have any questions. I always do my best to reply to literally everybody. But other than that, I'll see you in the next one.